welcome to this episode of In a Car with IPR. I am here with Laura Duda, the SVP and Chief Comms Officer at Goodyear. Hi, Laura.
Hi, Tina. We are so excited to host you. Welcome to Wingfoot Lake, which is the home of one of Goodyear's 3 world-famous blimps.
And we're going in the blimp. Oh my God, I'm so excited.
How exciting.
So we're gonna head over there and ask Laura some questions about her career journey, some of the great work they're doing at Goodyear. So we'll see you very soon.
See you then.
Okay, so Laura,
Yes.
so we're in the blimp,
Here
in
we
the
are.
air.
I know, it's fantastic. Nothing else like it.
I know, I'm like a kid in a candy store, just so excited. I think even, and Sarah's super excited too. We're just very excited to be up here. So maybe start a little telling us about your career journey and how you came to be where you are today.
Yeah, so my career journey, I would divide it into really 2 chapters. And it's been a little bit of a long career, like a 30-year career so far. And I would divide it into Florida and the Midwest. So that's how I divide it. So Florida, I'm from St. Petersburg, Florida. And for about half my career, I worked in the Tampa Bay area. So I spent a little bit of time at a university in higher ed. I was in community engagement. Then I spent the most of my time in Florida working for a utility. So that's where I started in communications. And I started at the local utility in Tampa at basically the lowest level you could start. Eventually, over time, I ended up as the head of the department. And that's when my story changes and it goes to the Midwest, because I got a unique opportunity to go from being a director at a smallish company in energy to being a VP at the largest company in the industry at the time. So I moved to Chicago, left my hometown, left my home state, never expected to do that, but I did it. And I stayed there for almost a decade at the energy company until I was lured by the glamour of the tire business. So here I find myself in Akron, Ohio for the past 8 years, which have been fantastic.
So I'm really excited to be in the blimp, and the blimp is so iconic. Like, everybody knows the blimp, and you just tie like, oh, the Goodyear blimp, the Goodyear blimp. So we're really excited to be here. Can you give us maybe a little, because like we have Julianne's on board who works a lot with blimp communications. Can you give us a little insight into the blimp and sort of what is the history of the blimp?
So interestingly, and I think we'll talk a little bit more about Goodyear's 125th anniversary later in the program, but the blimp itself is about to celebrate 100 years. So its centennial will be in 2025, which means that Goodyear has been operating airships since 1925. So that's a long time. And we've used them for a lot of purposes. We've partnered with the U.S. military during wartime, but really, since then, the primary uses of the blimp, we use them for aerial coverage. There is no other way to get the type of aerial coverage that we get. So sporting events, you'll see us at a lot of high-profile events. And in fact, the blimp has become a way that people determine if a sporting event is truly a big deal if the blimp shows up. So if it's blimp-worthy, and we actually had an advertising campaign about blimp-worthiness. And so aerial coverage, obviously a really big deal. Number one reason we exist. We get a lot of advertising value out of it. We also support our customers, whether they be original equipment manufacturers or independent tire dealers. We do a lot to engage our customers because this is a unique asset that we bring to them. And the third piece that we do is charity. So where we have blimp operations, which are in Akron, Ohio, Pompano Beach, Florida, and also Carson, California, near LA, we do a lot of charitable donations. So you'll see charities have on their silent auctions a ride for 2 or things like that. So we partner a lot with charities for that. And then fourth, our social team is fantastic at scanning the waterfront out in social space for different opportunities where we can surprise and delight someone. We have recently surprised and delighted a 3-year-old. We found a 3-year-old online just through our normal scanning who is, strangely enough, an absolute airship fanatic. So we brought the blimp to her hometown and were able to excite her, give her an inflatable blimp, do a whole surprise and delight with her, which is absolutely adorable. And this activation, which our team did, homegrown activation, was fantastic because I've never seen anything in social where you don't at least get some kind of snark or some kind of negativity, and there was absolutely none of that with this one. So really successful, and just one example of how we try to surprise and delight. We do it with military veterans, we do it with a lot of different people, but we're always looking for interesting stories where we could bring our unique asset, the blimp, to bear on making someone's day.
Like a 40-something-year-old female as well. I'm very surprised and delighted. So here's where we are.
Are you surprised, though? Are you really?
I am. I mean, no, but I am very delighted.
Okay, good. All right. You have a 50% achievement there. Okay, good.
And then, so you're celebrating the 100-year anniversary of the blimp in just a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's very exciting.
We're very excited. We've been talking about our 125th anniversary for so long. I think it was when we started talking about it, it was only my team, the global communications team, talking about it. We had a little germ of an idea and we made it into a huge internally produced campaign. I would say primarily for our associates, but also for customers and other groups. And we're going to, I think, give the organization a break in 2024 from celebratory activities, because right now everyone knows about the anniversary, and now we're going to take a break, go into planning mode, and in 2025 you can expect to see globally a lot of activity celebrating our airships.
Nice. Well, I think Pilot Ryan said we can move about the cabin, so we'll probably move to the other side of the cabin, ask more questions, including about the 125th anniversary later on the ground.
Let's do that.
All right, cool. I just want to ask you about pivotal career moments. I usually ask this question, like the sliding doors moment that had a big impact, that if you would have caught the train, your life would have gone this way. If you did not catch the train, it would have been very, very different. Do you have one of those sliding door moments in your life?
I have multiple. I was doing a talk with some of our associates last night, and I was referring to them as inflection points. And one of the ones that is, there were many of them. One of them was when I switched from journalism to public relations just because I didn't get a newspaper internship, which turned out to be a wonderful failure, in my opinion, because PR has been a much richer career than I think I could have had, especially with the state of journalism today. Also, I never really intended to be a supervisor, and I never really intended to be in leadership. I wanted to be a writer. That's all I ever wanted to be. So the idea of having a job where I could write and they would pay me to do it was like nirvana to me. But then in the first large-ish corporation I worked for, there was a supervisory role open, and the only other person who wanted it or who was going for it was this woman that I couldn't stand. So I did not want to work for her. So I put my name in, and strangely enough, I got the job, and it has led to sort of one of the nicest realizations in my career, which is that I enjoy getting results with a team more than I enjoy getting results by myself. I really enjoy working with and leading people, and somehow I found people that are willing to follow me and work with me, so it's been fantastic.
And you have some really great team members that we've interacted with as well.
I do. I have the best team.
Yeah, they're awesome. So
everyone says that. Everyone that Tina talks to will say that they have the best team, but actually I
do. You heard it on the blimp first. All right, so I feel like we should move about the cabin. Okay, Laura, we're just moving about the cabin in different places. By the way, this is so amazing. It's so cool. I even got to sit in the co-pilot seat, or maybe they're both pilots. I don't know. It's really cool.
Thank you for not messing with the controls.
It was very tempting. The buttons were all lit. They were pretty. I just wanted to.
Showed a lot of restraint.
It was really hard, but thank you. Thank you. So IPR does an annual disinformation study where we look at what is the effects of deliberately false or misleading information on society. And one of the findings that we found every year, and we'll release our next version, and it's the same finding, is that local news is one of the most trusted sources of media. And I know Dr. Penelope Abernathy she does a lot of research on news deserts or places without newspapers. And since 2004, the 2,100 newspapers have closed, and or 1/4 of all newspapers have closed, leaving gaps in coverage. you just joined the board of a nonprofit, Signal Akron. So do you want to talk about Signal Akron and what it does and how it supports local journalism?
Sure. I'll start with, this is a topic that I'm very passionate about. I originally wanted to be a newspaper reporter. I really believe in journalism and I believe in its objectives. However, it has changed so much just over the course of my career that it's not a profession I would want to be in, and it's sometimes hard to interact with, even on the local level. Just to give you a microcosm example in Akron, when I started at Goodyear 8 years ago, we had a reporter who was dedicated to the tire industry. We then shifted, and I understand business decisions have to be made. Then we had a reporter who covered multiple different beats. And today we are at a point when we'll get to it when we get to it is the answer that we get. And the more unfortunate part about that is the more salacious, clickbaity kind of information will always be covered. So if you had a reduction in force, or if you had a safety incident, or if you had a bad quarter, or all of these things, those are going to be very highly placed, highly positioned within the local press. And the things that are good, like a new innovation or a patent or an award, those will hardly ever be covered because they're not salacious enough. And I think from that perspective, the commercial business model of newspapers has done a disservice. The reporters, I don't think they like writing that way. I think it's done a disservice to the readers, to everyone. So enter Signal Akron. So Signal is a project that was, the initial funding and idea came largely from the Knight Foundation, the newspaper originated foundation founded in Akron, and they started with Signal Cleveland. And this is independent journalism, public service journalism, not profit-oriented journalism. So they have opened a newsroom in Akron, hired an editor-in-chief. I think there will be about 13 staff. And one of the really interesting things about it, and there's no need to be salacious or look for clickbait. They're just trying to cover the story the way journalism was when I trained to do it and the way I think it should still be done. So they also, a really neat thing about Signal, the Signal model is they will pay local residents and train them to cover different community meetings that you may not have all the reporters in the world to cover. So it's a way to engage the community, to create some economic prosperity, and to also get a lot more news out to folks. So I'm very excited to be part of that. I'm on the advisory board. Goodyear was one of the companies that stepped forward and said, we see this as being important and we're willing to put funding toward it.
Okay, great. And I think we're going to be on the ground soon,
yes.
Which I don't want to be. I'd just rather stay up
let's
here all day.
We should.
Take calls.
Let's just go somewhere. I don't know, go to the Bahamas or something.
I'm sure Pilot Jerry could take us to the Bahamas. It's like, U-turn. All right, so we'll be back on the ground soon.
Sounds great. So no trip to Wingfoot Lake or any of our airship bases would be complete without speaking to one of our amazing pilots. So we have Ryan Clark here with us today. He's been helping to facilitate our ride, and we have a lot of historic photos in our airship bases. And I wanted to see if Ryan could tell us a little bit about something you might not know about our airships, which is our history with the military.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of people think that the Goodyear blimps were just used as a billboard flying in the sky. They don't realize how involved we were serving with the military. Goodyear built over 100 airships that served for the Navy. And one of the fun facts over there is that they were used to escort ships along the water. And while they were doing the escorting, not one ship was ever lost while it had a blimp that was actually flying over it. This ship that we got over here, the Puritan, this kind of ship over here, we'd be able to stay up in the air for days on end. They actually had a full galley in the back over there where they'd actually be able to rest in the back area, also be able to cook some food, make coffee and things like that. So, yeah.
Excellent. So thanks, Ryan, and thanks for all you've done to make this visit special today.
Thank you for coming out.
Thanks, Ryan.
Okay, so Laura, your team just completed working on the 125th Goodyear anniversary. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about that and tell us what that was like.
Yeah, so Goodyear celebrated our 125th anniversary. We went into business in 1898, which means that we have been enabling mobility for 125 years. And this was a milestone that we really wanted to celebrate. And maybe about a year ago, my team started thinking about it, and we started with a little germ of an idea, and my team really excelled, and we thought about a lot of different things. Central to the process was the production of a 7-part docuseries, Goodyear 125 Years in Motion. You can find that online or on our website. It's fantastic. Internally produced, really connects people, viewers, employees, everyone to our history and our customers and all the roles that we've played in sports and in sponsorships and in brand and in innovation. So there's whatever you're interested in about Goodyear, there is a segment for you, and I hope you'll watch it. And we also did a lot of things internally to celebrate. We had celebrations in Akron and around the world recently, and they've still been going on. Even though the actual anniversary was August 29th, we just did in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, we did a huge event where we had 300 customers, 100 members of the press come out to launch new products and to really celebrate 125 years of partnership. So highly, highly successful. I think that we're all feeling a bit of a letdown now because we worked so hard in it and it was so successful. And now we're focused on our Blimp Centennial in 2025.
Nice. After a break in 2024.
Yes. Oh, well, we'll call it a planning break because nothing stops. And that will be, I think, looking at from a reach perspective, the Blimp, you may or may not be surprised, but the Blimp and its imagery and the Blimp as an asset, it really carries around the world. Everyone has seen the Blimp. Everyone is in some way engaged with the Blimp. So this will be a really global celebration, and it will be focused on a lot broader audience. So we're really excited about it.
Okay, so now we're here in the lightning round of questions. And so I took this from Inside the Actor Studio at James Lipton. Nice. I do a variation. He usually asks, like, what's your favorite word? I'm not going to ask you that because that's tough. You're also on the board of the Museum for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. So bands or artists that you love?
Oh boy. Well, I had a difficult period a few years ago. This will date me, but pretty much every artist that I truly was passionate about passed away. So in short order, we saw Tom Petty, and being from Florida, obviously you have to give back your Florida card if you don't find some sort of obsession with Tom Petty. And then Prince, always loved Prince. The most trouble I ever got in high school was when I snuck in to see Purple Rain, again, dating myself, before I was 17, well before I was 17, and David Bowie. So we lost a lot of talent in really short order, but I wouldn't say I stay completely contemporary. I sometimes say like I stopped liking new music at approximately Justin Bieber era, and I didn't like anything else. But I do love the Foo Fighters. Gotta love the Foo Fighters. And I would get kicked out of Akron if I didn't say that I also love our hometown heroes, the Black Keys.
Nice.
Really love them. Fond of Florence and the Machine. Just love sort of that sort of contemporary rock and roll, bluesy kind of feel.
Great. Yes, I love all those bands too. Okay, so how do you unwind and relax?
So one of my favorite things to do is be in nature, which is one of the reasons I love being in Northeast Ohio. I do a lot of hiking whenever the weather is nice. And here in the Midwest, we describe nice as basically anything above 20 degrees. So I do a lot of hiking. We have wonderful metro parks, wonderful national park. I also, my husband and I like to cook, and my husband and I have one of our favorite things to do on a Friday when we have time. We have an antique cocktail book, like really old cocktail book. We will open it to any page in the cocktail book, close our eyes, put our finger on one drink, and whatever it is, we have to make it. No excuses, unless there's some ingredient that's so old they don't even make it anymore. So we've never found that. So we will typically, it really has been nice to get you out of the rut of a beer, a wine, or a martini. And so we enjoy that on a Friday when we're able.
Do you have any recommended cocktails? We're like, I really like this. Or cocktails to avoid?
No, I think, there's a lot of ones that we've found that we like, and there's some that I do a little bit of Facebook promotion of it. Like I might give it a star rating, like would revisit or would not revisit. But it's funny how tastes have changed. Like there are a lot of mixers and things that just aren't really appealing to our palates these days.
And I like how you also, you'll have tonight's drink and it's on a board and stuff. So I really like it.
Yeah, we have a board. We do. Some people put their kids' accomplishments. I put the cocktail that we had.
Speaking of, you have to talk about your dogs because I love your dogs, Flossie and the crew. So maybe tell us a little bit about those.
Yeah, so we are a dog family. We don't have human children, but people say, do you have kids? I say, yes, we do. We have 3 little tiny Havanese dogs. So, but then, which that family would be complete at that point for most people. But then we stumbled upon a dog in need of rescue and we adopted her, and she has since transformed herself into my entire reason for existing. She is an old English sheepdog named Flossie. She is absolutely beautiful. Really tough story before getting to us. She was at a puppy mill as a breeder, and but we've had her for a year now, and seeing her come out of her shell and seeing her be happy has been one of the unexpected great joys of my life.
I love it. She's so cute too.
Really, really
She has
cute.
like a lot of personality for sure.
I should do an Insta for her.
You should.
I should.
Yeah, you can get like
If I was
free
any
products
kind of
and
decent
stuff.
photographer, I would do so.
That would be great. Okay, if you weren't doing this job and you weren't going to be a journalist, what would you think you would do?
Gosh, that is really interesting. I would like to be a guide in a national park.
Oh, that would
I
be
think
so
I would
fun.
really love to be in Parks and Rec in some form and really be out in probably Yellowstone. Or, I mean, are you letting me pick whatever I want?
whatever you want.
I mean, can I
That's
be
good.
like movie star? Let's see, I skipped those
Sure,
things.
you
Like,
can be a movie
all right, feature film star, or rock star, or tour guide at Yellowstone.
So one of those 3. What would you not do?
I would not do anything with mathematics or any sort of technical skill required.
Nice. So not do anything like forming the blimp or deciding the trajectory of the airflow of whatever that is.
Nobody wants me to do that. No, the team doesn't. The blimp team doesn't want me to do that. They're like, just keep us out of trouble with, the world, and we'll take care of running the ship safely.
Okay, final question. What are you the most hopeful for or looking forward to in the future?
So I'm excited. I'm going to make this a personal one, but my husband and I do long distance hikes. And in 2024, we are planning another one in Scotland. Scotland is one of our most favorite destinations. So I'm really excited about training for that and accomplishing that.
Great. Where are you going?
We are hiking a trail called the Great Glen Way. It stretches from Fort William, Scotland to Inverness, Scotland. It's about 100 miles.
That'll be amazing.
Yeah,
amazing. Laura, I wanted to thank you so much for having us here today. We had such a great time, so thank you.
It was really fun. I hope to come back again someday.
So if you liked this episode of In a Car with IPR, check it out and then give us a thumbs up and follow us for more great In a Car or In a Blimp updates.
Thank you for watching this episode of In a Car with IPR. Want to make a tax-deductible contribution to support this series and fund research in the profession? Please visit us at instituteforpr.org/contribute.